What's up, my plant people? My name is Stacia, and this is Oops, I Soiled My Planties. Thanks for coming to hang out. All right, you guys, so what we're going to do today is chop up this big baby right here. And as usual, I'm in my garage. For those of you who are new, I apologize if you can hear the fans, but it is currently 89 degrees with 86% humidity out here. They like it. I'm not a big fan, but what I'm going to do today is super messy, so it's going to happen here in the garage. Alrighty, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change camera angle so I can give you guys a better look at what I'm going to be doing down here in the pot. I'm going to remove her from the pot, and then I'm going to display her here on this table that is, you'll be able to see once I get all the camera angles arranged. And I'll show you guys how I do this, and then I'll also show you at the end how I pot them up and where they're going to live until they find their forever homes. So hang out for a minute and we'll get to it. Now I've let her dry out for a couple of days. All right, you guys, I promise you I'm going to do my best to make sure you can see what exactly I'm doing down here. But if you can see, there's a whole lot of stolon that has nothing going on. So I'm actually going to turn this way, so hopefully you guys can see. We have a new growth point here and lots of stolon here, right? So what I'm trying to do is locate the end. So if you can see, this piece is connected to there. So I'm actually going to cut it back here to give it as much of these roots as I can, and then I'm going to maneuver it, and I hope you guys can see what I'm doing, through, and then we've got a piece there. All right, so now there's stuff growing from there. So we'll turn this way. Okay, you see all of this? So there's a super big piece with a lot of nodes, but I'm actually gonna chop this up. So we'll just set it to the side for right now and just continue with what we're doing here. And basically, I'm just kind of knocking away the soil to see where everything's growing, to see what has roots, what everything's doing. And then I'm kind of making my judgment call as to where I'm going to do my separating from based on that. So and there is quite well, that's a stolon. We'll try to get started. These are intertwined here. I'm just going to gently separate the roots and remove this to the side. All right. They're so tangled. Okay. Here's a piece. Wow. Look at this, you guys. Do you see this? How amazing is that? So I'm actually going to separate these, but I'll show you. Right now I'm just trying to get it out of the soil. All right, just make sure there's no stolen pieces here. Okay. All right, so now I'm just going to get me cleaned up and the work area cleaned up a little bit, and then we'll come back and we'll get everything separated up and I'll show you what we're doing next. So give me just a second. What's up, you guys? Editing Stacia here. I just want to take a minute and give you a little bit of clarification because I was not very clear in the video. As I'm cutting up the stolen, I tell you that I'm cutting halfway into the node, and actually that's not what I'm really doing. What I mean is I'm cutting halfway in between where the nodes are. So you have a node, and in between there's blank stolen, and I'm just cutting I'm cutting into the stolen. Sorry if I was unclear. My bad. I'm an asshole. Back to the video. Okay, so I think I've got you set up where you're going to be able to see pretty good. I've got a camera here so you can kind of see what I'm doing here on the table. Let me get this out of the way. And then take a sip of my drink. Alrighty. So we are going to start with the largest stolen piece. There's a lot going on here. So first things first, I want to evaluate. Okay, so I'm going to look. So here's the end and here's roots. So I've got a ton of roots back a little further. So actually, all right, so I'm actually going to cut pretty far back. So we've got all this new growth here, but you've got a node, there's another node, here's the middle of a node, here's another node. So I'm actually going to come back to about the middle of this node right here. Now we've got a decent looking root system, and I'm going to set this one to the side to be potted up. Now here, as you can see, or hopefully you can see, I'll clean some of this soil up so you guys can get a better look at what's going on here. And I'm really hoping I'm in the frame, you guys. If I'm not, I so apologize. But all this is just stolen with roots. This was growing under the ground, so it didn't grow very much. So actually, and if you see, it's got all these roots here. So what I'm going to do is hit the middle of this node here, set that to the side, but we've got this, and I'm going to get the middle of this node here. Now we've got something else to start with, so we will set that to the side. Now we're on to our next section, and as you can see, this little baby here has a little bit of root going on, but what I'm going to do is keep this whole piece intact. And we're going to pot this. And again, where it's starting to run off. Now with this one, it's a little bit of a different story. If you notice, there's not a whole lot of root here except for way back here. And then this has started to make its own roots. So what I'm actually going to do with this is I'm going to cut and separate these. Okay? We're making progress, people. We're making progress. All right. Piece number 2. This big daddy here. So we've got a whole lot of stolon and not a whole lot of leafage. So same thing goes with this one. I'm actually going to cut into the middle of this node here. So we've got this, and I may very well snap a leaf off so it only has, you know, to sustain itself with this here. Now again, we've got a bunch of node with some growth pieces trying to come out, so we'll set that to the side and we'll work with that in a little bit too. Right now we're just going to concentrate, okay, and we've got this little bitty baby here just starting. It's got some decent roots. We'll pot her up. Alrighty. This one here is a little funky. Because this one kind of grew up out of the soil, so it had a bunch of roots here. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to cut into the middle of this node right here, and then I'm going to dispense of one of the leaves and leave 3. And I may very well at another time pop a second leaf off, but for now we're just going to see what we can do with that. I'll probably go ahead and put that one in some spag. Sorry you guys, I am dying out here. First of all, I'm nervous as shit because I'm cutting up one of my biggest, most favorite plants, but I'm having a hard time figuring out what to do with her, and she's starting to become a burden at her size. Besides, as big as she was, to find a pot deep enough to be able to put her in, you saw how big the pot was, and her root system was only this deep. She doesn't throw a big root system, deep root system like that anyway, not to have a pot this deep. So I've actually, what I've done is I've gotten some planter bowls and such, and then I have some smaller pots for the smaller ones that I'm going to put those in. And I'm probably, like I said, going to put a couple of these in some spag just to make sure that they have more of a chance to produce a root system. And I've noticed, since I've done this a couple of times, that when you do put them in spag, they seem to hold on, they're able to maintain their leaves. The first time I did this, everything dropped its leaves and I could not understand why. Then I did this a second time, and the second time I used spag and I used some water, and I'm going to tell you, here where I live in Florida, sphagnum moss is the way to propagate stuff. Everything takes off really quickly. So enough of that. Let's finish up here. All right, so we've got this piece here with a bunch of roots, not much growth going on. So I'm actually going to snap back here, and I'll pot this piece up, and we're gonna get that propagated too. Alrighty, here we are with this piece. Again, a ton of roots the whole way down, but and then last one is this little baby here that was all by its lonesome. So I'm just going to leave it as it is, and I'm going to pot it up. All right, now I'm going to clean up one more time, and then we'll move on to the next step, which will be, I think what we're going to do is actually separate the stolon. We're going to go ahead and separate all those and get those set how we're going to set those up, and then we'll move forward from there. All right? So hang tight. I'll be back. Clean up. Aisle 3. Okay. We've got another one here. It's got a little bit of... All right, so I hope you can see right there, something is trying to happen, and there's a root here. Right here, something is trying to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut into the middle of this right here. Okay. We're going to come on down here. This has... All right, so now these ones, because there are roots here and a new growth point here, I'm probably going to take this just like it is, and I'm going to put this into sphagnum moss with this side facing down. Actually, I'll probably put it in so it's like this. I'll just take these off. I'll probably stick it in so it's at its side like this, and then I'll pay attention to which direction this grows, if it grows, or if something else starts growing elsewhere. Okay? Now this one, as you can see, you got something. All right. And this is why I do this in the garage. Okay, so I have some sphagnum that's been soaking here, and I had a mishap with it earlier. I dropped it. Yay, go me. All right, so all right, so I put a little bit of spag down in the bottom of the pot. I think, yeah. All right, so basically this is what I've done with it. I have not completely covered the stolon, and I've left the piece that's growing out. I'm done with that one. On to the next one. All right, so we are going to start with the largest two. And I'm standing now, so if I'm out of frame a little, I do apologize, but you probably don't care about this anyway. All you care about is this, so I gotcha. All right, so we're gonna use this pot, and here's the first piece we're going to pot up. So I'm going to start by putting a layer of soil at the bottom. Oh shit. Sorry, gotta go get my screen. All right, you guys, I'm back. I put my little screen down below. I've got a layer of soil, so I'm going to actually put this down into the soil. And I'm just going to scoop soil on top of them, of the roots, but not letting the plant, I don't know how to explain it. Hopefully you guys can see. Son of a bitch. So difficult. I don't know why it has to be. Now I will definitely stake her, so I'm gonna get some more. God damn, I'm so fucking messy. Yeah. Okay. So I've gotten her into the pot. I've gotten her roots buried. I've gotten her stolon partially covered, but not completely, and her new growth point is down under the soil some. So now what I'm going to do is rest that. Oh, fuck it, I'm gonna have to fix it. Take this. So that I will stake those two thusly. See how well I do this one-handed, you guys. Oh my goodness. I might have done pretty good. All right. So one down, and I don't know if you guys can see, I mean the stolon is just barely under the soil. Okay. Red meshy type deal that I'm putting over the hole. And then we're going to scoop some soil into the bottom. Got the soil in the bottom. All right. Now we're going to take her again and spread her roots. And then I'm going to place soil on top of her roots. I don't know why I do this, but it makes me feel better. Maybe. I don't know. I'm a freak. More of it's going on the floor than is going into the pot, you guys, just FYI. Because that's how I roll. Woo-hoo. Again, we are going to stake up for security. So I'm going to grab both of these. One-handed. See, if I'd have been smart in between, I would have gone ahead and done that, but unfortunately, sometimes I'm not so smart. Oh, God. Thank God. Come on. All right, you guys. So the stolon is just barely buried. And the reason I do just barely bury it when I'm first repotting it is just so... okay, so with Gloriosum, it crawls. And it likes the very tip of its stolon to be under the soil. And then it emerges with a new leaf. At least that's what I've noticed. So... I just try to bury it enough that it can do its thing and keep on trucking. Now, you guys, full disclosure, because you all know how much I love this. All right, so this bitch is my pride and joy, okay? I absolutely love this plant, and she was, like I said, she was just getting too big. She was becoming a major burden. So I decided to chop her up. And of course, there's a couple pieces that I'm going to keep for myself. But if everything totally goes and I lose it all, where did I put? Oh, I have this little baby that I started quite a while ago, and she's doing lovely. So I'm just going to keep her over here, and I'm going to pray to God that these live. All right, that's 2. Alright you guys, so at the last minute my battery died and it took me about 2.5 hours to charge it enough to be able to at least film the outro for you guys. So in the meantime, I did go ahead and finish potting up the few things that I had to pot up, but I'm going to get you some pictures. I know you want to see what it looks like. I'm swimming in a sea of Gloriosum at this point. It's cool though, because I'm going to keep a few of these for myself, but then of others I'm going to either gift or sell, or who knows what the future holds around here. I thank you guys for watching, and I do hope you guys like this content. And if you do, make sure you go down below, give that thumbs up, hit your subscribe button, and mark your notification bell for all so you can get notified anytime I do an upload, because obviously updates are going to be in order, and I'm sure you guys want to know how it's going. I want to tell you how it's going. As soon as it happens, I'll let you know. And as I always say here on my channel, thanks for hanging out. Y'all come back now and bring your friends. If you don't want to bring your friends, that's cool, because you guys are the reason I'm here and I'm doing this. I love you, and I'll see you in my next one. Peace out. Y'all ready for this? No, I'm just playing. Let me stop. When I'm cutting up the nodes, that when they are, excuse me you guys,